Social Security checks may be getting a bigger increase in 2027. Some headlines are even calling it a Trump bump. But before anyone starts pricing a cruise or upgrading from the regular coffee to the fancy coffee, there's one important detail. The increase is not yet official. As of August 3rd, 2026, two major organizations that study Social Security are forecasting an increase somewhere around 3.6 to 3.8%. That would be larger than the 2.8% increase beneficiaries received in 2026. So, what exactly is happening? How much more money could people receive? And does the president actually decide how large the increase will be? Let's explain it. COLA, C-O-L-A, stands for Cost of Living Adjustment. It's an automatic increase applied to Social Security benefits when consumer prices rise. The purpose is not really to give retirees a raise. Rather, it's supposed to help their existing benefits maintain roughly the same purchasing power as food, housing, gasoline, medical care, and other expenses become more expensive. So in other words, it's less like winning the lottery and more like the government noticing that your grocery receipt has been attacking you. The calculation is based on something called the Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners and clerical workers. This is usually shortened to CPI-W or CPIW. The Social Security Administration compares the average CPIW during July, August, and September with the average from those same 3 months 1 year earlier. If the index rises, Social Security benefits generally rise by the same percentage. That means the official 2027 increase can't be calculated just yet. The July inflation report is scheduled for August 12th. The August report is scheduled for September 11th, and the September report, which is the final piece of the puzzle, is scheduled for October 14th. After that final report, the Social Security Administration can then finally announce the official COLA. Right now, the AARP is projecting a 3.6% increase. The Senior Citizens League, a nonpartisan senior advocacy organization that publishes monthly COLA estimates, is forecasting a 3.8% increase. Let's go over a few examples of what this could look like. On an average retired workers benefit of about $2,084 per month, a 3.6% COLA would add approximately $75 per month, and a 3.8% increase would add around $79 per month. Now, for someone receiving a $1,500 per month payment, they would gain somewhere between approximately $54 and $57. A $2,000 a month benefit would increase by roughly $72 to $76, and a $2,500 benefit would rise by approximately $90 to $95 per month. The exact increase depends on each person's existing benefit. There's no single flat dollar amount that everyone receives. So why is the projected COLA higher? Well, as you all know, inflation has been running higher. In June 2026, the CPIW was 3.5% higher than it had been 1 year earlier. Overall food prices were about 3% higher, while energy prices were up considerably more. Gasoline prices were more than 26% higher than 1 year earlier, although they fell during the month of June itself. Analysts cited by AARP have pointed to tariffs and higher energy prices connected with the conflict involving Iran as contributors to the recent inflation increase. That's where some of the Trump bump headlines come from. The argument is that policies and events occurring during President Donald Trump's administration have contributed to higher prices, which may then produce a higher Social Security COLA. But Trump bump is a media nickname. It's not the official name of any government program. And President Trump doesn't personally choose the COLA percentage. Neither does Congress, the Social Security Commissioner, AARP, or the Senior Citizens League. The percentage is produced automatically using the inflation formula established by law. So if the official COLA ends up being 3.8%, it will not be because the president walked into the Oval Office, spun a giant wheel, and landed on 3.8. President Trump has, however, talked frequently about Social Security. During his 2026 State of the Union address, Trump promoted what he described as no tax on Social Security for seniors. The law behind that claim actually created a temporary additional tax deduction of up to $6,000 for eligible people age 65 or older, or as much as $12,000 for qualifying married couples. The deduction phases out at higher incomes and is currently scheduled to apply through 2028. That tax deduction could help some seniors, but it's completely separate from the annual COLA. Other political leaders are also pushing for larger or differently calculated benefits. In July 2026, Representative John Larson and Senator Richard Blumenthal reintroduced the Social Security 2100 Act. Among other changes, the proposal would increase benefits, strengthen the minimum benefit, and calculate future COLAs using an inflation index designed to more closely reflect the expenses of older Americans. That alternative index is known as the CPI-E or Consumer Price Index for the elderly. Supporters argue that the current CPIW doesn't give enough weight to expenses such as healthcare and housing, which consume a large portion of many retirees' budgets. The Social Security 2100 Act is a proposal, however. It's not become law. There's also another catch with any COLA increase: Medicare. Most people enrolled in Medicare have their Part B premium deducted directly from their Social Security payment. If the Medicare premium rises in 2028, it could consume a part of the COLA increase before the money ever reaches the beneficiary's account. The final 2027 Part B premium has not been announced yet either. So a person might receive a $75 Social Security increase on paper, but their actual increase after Medicare deductions could be somewhere smaller. And remember, a larger COLA generally means inflation was higher. If your Social Security check rises by $75, but your groceries, utilities, insurance, and medical costs also increase by $75, you haven't exactly discovered a retirement money glitch. You're mostly running faster to stay in the same place, if that makes sense. Finally, the annual COLA should not be confused with the Social Security's long-term financial problem. The 2026 Social Security Trustees Report projects that the retirement trust could exhaust its reserves during the fourth quarter of 2032. If Congress made no changes, continuing revenue would be sufficient to pay only approximately 78% of scheduled retirement benefits at that point. That doesn't mean Social Security suddenly disappears in 2032. It means the program would no longer have enough revenue to pay every promised benefit in full unless lawmakers act. So here's where we stand right now. The 2027 Social Security COLA is likely to be higher than the 2.8% increase beneficiaries received in 2026. The leading forecasts currently place it between 3.6% and 3.8%. That could add roughly $75 to $79 to an average retired worker's monthly benefit. But the number is not official. President Trump does not personally set it, and Medicare could absorb part of it. And a larger COLA is also a sign that prices have been rising. The first major number to watch will arrive on August 12th, when the government releases its July inflation report. The final answer should come on October 14th. Until then, treat every COLA number you see as a forecast and not a promise. And that is the Social Security COLA bump explained.